Empathy versus sympathy. They seem like they might be kind of similar, but actually they have a very different intention and a very different outcome. If we compare empathy versus sympathy, we realize that sympathy has this kind of distance and this separation because we don't want to get too involved. We don't actually want to be vulnerable ourselves. And when we actually use empathy, what we're doing is not just seeing through another person's glasses or stepping in their shoes, but we're actually standing with them, shoulder to shoulder, and we're looking at their experience and we're sharing that experience with them. There are three parts of empathy. We use this triangle to think about the balance between feelings, thoughts, and actions. And this same triangle applies to the three parts of empathy. There's a cognitive part, a thinking part, which has to do with imagining ourselves in that experience and looking at somebody and what they've done and saying, I can imagine what they might have been thinking, or I can imagine what this might be like for them. If we use that thinking part of empathy without the other parts, we slip into sympathy and we start saying, oh, this must be so hard for them, I feel sorry for them. And our feeling is not feeling with, our feeling is feeling above or feeling apart from. In the emotional part of empathy, we're actually forming a connection with somebody else, or we're co-creating that connection. We're stepping into the space of shared emotional connectedness. Now, the cognitive part of empathy is much easier to train. So often in workshops, people will talk about empathy and they'll really focus on this cognitive part of empathy, reading people's faces, reading people's body languages, trying to hear what it is that they're not exactly saying. These are all cognitive techniques. The emotional empathy, the affective empathy, is based in compassion. It's based in feeling that we are together with. And this feeling of together with comes from a very different intention and has a result of leading both people to change. When we step into the emotional part of empathy, what happens is we draw on our shared humanity. The final part of empathy is empathic action. And this is a place where we get into a lot of trouble because sometimes people think empathic action is fixing or solving or offering advice. And if you've ever been stuck and wanting empathy, you know that's not what you need. One of my colleagues, David Tubley, plays on the expression, don't just stand there, do something. Empathy is don't just do something, stand there. Empathic action is often standing with somebody and being with them. Now for me, that takes a level of bravery. It takes a level of vulnerability. Because when we really empathize, we step into the shared experience with somebody, and we might feel like we're going to drown or be overwhelmed. And that's why often people slip into this sympathy side of empathy versus sympathy, because they don't want to go there. They don't want to open themselves up to that experience. Here's the secret. When we really open our hearts and when we really connect with empathy, we both walk away lighter. We both walk away with some healing. We both walk away with some perspective. Empathy is not something we give to somebody or do to somebody. Sympathy is. Empathy is something we do together with. We step into this together with, and it affects both of us, and we both walk away feeling and knowing and acting in this more connected place. Now it's your turn. How could you step out of sympathy and into empathy?